now is disruptive tech research founder Lou Basenese. Lou, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Lou Basenese is with us right now. Your reaction to the earnings we saw at the close yesterday?
Start off with Facebook. I'm probably the only one that's not cheering it, and it's not because I don't own the stock and missed out. It's not sour grapes. It's because I think we're rewarding bad behavior. As Dagan mentioned earlier in the show, there's a $3 billion, possibly a $5 billion fine that's going to be paid, and investors are just shrugging it off like it's no big deal. Facebook has been a serial offender of privacy, and we're just letting them go undeterred and unpunished for it. And I can't get behind that as an investor.
Yeah, we'll see. Stock is up 8.5% right now, but I mean, that's their business, Dagan. I mean, they sell our data to advertisers. So I agree. I mean, this is the business model. Is this going to work long term? Is this going to be sustainable?
Well, if you dig into the actual numbers, I know that the revenue was up 26%, and its average daily users was 1.56 billion. That was up 8%, but there was virtually no user growth in the U.S., Canada, and Europe, and that is 70% of the company's revenue. The average revenue per user was up, but I think that if you have to look at its core markets and its growth there, and independent research separately suggests that people are spending less time on Facebook. That's a worry. And by the way, the stock is up even before today, up 39% year to date. But in terms of the regulatory heat, if you look overseas, it's much worse. Facebook faces 10 different inquiries from its primary regulator, the Irish Data Protection Commission. And even in Australia and New Zealand, they have threatened throwing Facebook executives personal fines of jail because of, say, when the New Zealand massacre was broadcast live on Facebook, because there's been zero responsibility in terms of preventing this kind of horrific video from being live streamed. Yep. Suicides, murders, even that massacre in New Zealand.
You make a good point. Europe has been so much steeper in terms of the regulatory bite on these social media companies than the U.S. I don't think people want to see the U.S. be as aggressive as Europe has been. However, there seems like there's been a tipping point. Something will get done. I don't know. Will it be a breakup of some of these companies? Will it be more regulation? What do you guys think?
Well, right now, I think Congress is going to spend the rest of this term fighting over what we're going to do with the Mueller report, as opposed to convening panels to figure out how to regulate an industry.
That's true, too.
But I do think beyond this Congress, I think consumers, investors ought to be concerned about a big deal in privacy, more regulation, the big incumbents cutting a deal with Washington that gives them protection against new competitors. And I guess, Lou, that's what I wonder. You look at these results, and on the one hand, you could say users don't care about these issues as much as reporters and regulators do. Or do you look at these results and say people feel like they have no choice, they need Facebook, they don't have an option?
Look, I would say it's analogous to this generation's big tobacco. We're addicted to these platforms, whether it's for news or connection. And because as consumers we're addicted to it, the advertisers are addicted to it. They can go nowhere else and get an audience of 2 billion plus users at once. So it's sad. It's a sad testament, but the business fundamentals are super strong, but the underlying ethics of that business, Maria mentioned it too, like their business is collecting our data to then in turn sell it to others. That's the product. It's over 98% of the revenue.
And maybe that's a good trade. Isn't that what the results say?
Yeah, and I think we've talked about this before, James. It's a trade. We're making an exchange, but where's the boundary, right? How much is too much? How much information are we going to give away? How much are we willing to give away for them to sell?
And I think the issue with Facebook is also that Facebook promised to stop this behavior and it didn't. Right. And it keeps promising we're going to do better, we're going to do better. That podcast from Mark Zuckerberg, now he's going to be preaching about society. Gizmodo referred to it as today's fresh hell, this new podcast from Zuckerberg. And by the way, when you're getting one-upped by the National Security Agency, then you got a problem. The NSA has asked the White House to abandon their surveillance program where they were collecting information about U.S. phone calls and text messages, saying that the results, the benefits of it are outweighed by the burdens of keeping it running. So when the NSA is one up in Facebook in terms of privacy, you've got a real problem.
Yeah, that's a good point. How about Tesla? Lou, Lou, the company releasing disappointing first quarter results, another loss, demand for the electric car slumping. Company announced it is launching a new insurance company as well. The stock is down this morning. What did you make of those numbers?
Listen, I think it was a huge miss. I mean, in January, Elon said that they were going to have a small profit, and then they had a huge $700 million loss. There is more red flags here than at a communist parade, and they just keep coming up. I mean, this week alone, we had four directors, not standing for re-election, made some just exaggerated claims about full self-driving capabilities, and then now we're just, Elon issued guidance yesterday that just seems unbelievable. And then also, I came out of the insurance industry early in my career. That's not an easy industry to get into. It's highly regulated. And the fact that he thinks that they're just going to open up their own insurance carrier next year, I think it's wishful thinking.
Wow.
It's more of a cash grab. And I really think that's it. Overarching, there's two main concerns. Do they have enough cash to keep the business going? And is there enough demand?
Well, it sounds like you would sell the stock here. I mean, it's been going down this week. It's had a tough week. It's at 258.66 right now, down 2% yesterday. What do you want to do as an investor?
Yeah, no, I'm bearish. Look, I actually have some bankruptcy put options, some cheap put options on the likelihood that they could run out of cash and hit a crunch where they can't get financing. I would definitely not be buying this stock on any dips. There's too many concerns going on right now long term.
All right, we'll leave it there. Lou, great to get your insights.
Thank you, Maria.
Come back soon. Lou Basenese joining us there. Coming up, Joe Biden is in. The former vice president officially.